Hello, welcome back to Marta's Planning Mess. This one's going to be a little bit longer because I want to talk about several planners, also do a weekly update, and just kind of go through what my thought process is going into 2026. So, if you've been watching along, I've already purchased 2 Sterling Ink planners for next year. And I'm not 100% certain how I'm going to use one of them. But what I've purchased is the N2 horizontal and the N2 vertical. So let me talk to you a little bit about what I'm using now compared to what I'm going to be using next year. And then we're going to talk through some of the things that I'm messing with. So I'm going to move these out of the way for right now. Okay, so right now I have a Hobonichi Weeks, which is extremely similar to the Sterling Ink N2 horizontal. This is what I use for my meal and fitness planner, and it's worked really well. I have loved it. I kind of fell off the bandwagon of keeping up with it because I got overwhelmed, but I've gone through and caught myself up, and I'm so excited and proud of myself. I've even gone back to actually plotting and planning things out because I do like how that looks best. I like how this looks, but it's bulky. By the time you start taping things in, it makes it stiff, and it was chunking up, and I'm not a fan of chunky planners. So this is going well, and I'm happy with it. So I could very easily use my Sterling Ink horizontal for this, and that is what I bought it for, with that intention. Okay. For my everyday carry, I have the N2 vertical, and I got it in the compact because I don't like my planner, again, to be too chunky, and the full year is huge, especially at this small of a size. So anyway, I have used it. Oh, I need to update this section. That's one thing I'm behind in, but I used it consistently for about 3.5 months, and then I got behind from being sick and overwhelmed. I switched to some different formats and just kind of spent the next 2-3 months just trying out everything and get my hands on, so I really was sure I'd be happy with what I was settling into. So I basically took all those other planners and back planned into here, finished out the end of June. I was like, okay, I'm going to move into something else because I knew from the amount of daily pages I was using in the back, I would not have enough to finish the year. And so I bought myself a B6 Part 2 planner, which is just the 6 months, July through December, to finish the year out with. So I did July and August in there, and it's working pretty well. I need a little bit more space. And I was journaling in the back pages rather than doing my to-do lists and stuff. And so I was kind of not getting as much space as I needed. So I went back to this planner for the month of September because I was trying out an idea that had come to me of having a 4-page weekly spread rather than a 2-page. So because this had the last 6 months of weekly pages, which were basically unused, I decided to try this Dutch door system, and it has worked quite well. So I experimented it with just kind of, I didn't really double plan, but kind of just at least map things out for a week in August, and then I went ahead and did all of July. So there's my weekly schedule, vertical layout, and then here's like my to-do list, mood, tracker and chore tracker and shopping lists, goals, just little things that I want to track that I just don't have room to in this spread for the week. So that's all worked well. I've moved some health and fitness things into here just to kind of fill this space, and I really like how it looks. So that was last week, and then here we are. This is this week, and here we are. And I like the layout I used for my to-do lists and whatever, but I also was trying to use up some stickers or see if maybe I would like that better. So for the last 2 weeks, I've set it up that way. This is next week, and it's working okay too. Either way, I love with these planners because they're grid. You can change up your layout whenever and however you want. So I will always stick with this type of a planner. And I always go look at what other people are doing because it gives me ideas, and I'm always wanting to make things work a little better, a little differently. So anyway, I'm very happy with this. And so my plan for next year, the N2 vertical that I purchased, I did not purchase the full year. I again purchased the compact, and I've decided to just use that for 6 months because I have 12 months of weeklies. It gives me enough pages to do this Dutch door layout and cover that whole section. So that is my plan, and I don't see any reason to stray from it. It's working really well, and I love these more narrow planners, and I really never thought I would. This is coming from a Happy Planner classic size, which is like wider than a B5. So who knew I would ever get into something this small, or that I would like this more vertical layout. But anyway, this is working well. So what's coming in the mail, which they haven't even packed mine yet, even though I ordered the first day because there's so many people and they warned us 4 to 6 weeks. So I'm good with that, but I'm itching to see it. Anyway, so this is working well. I'm not having problems. See, I'm not journaling that much. If I have a day where I want to, I know I'll have space to do it, but I do like using these stickers and doing the journaling. So this is also the reason I decided to do this in September, was to just get an idea of how much space do I need for journaling, because when you get a compact, they don't give you a half year's worth of daily pages. We just get 119. So that is not half of 365. That would be like 185, something like that, 184. So this, I was concerned. That was my one concern about my plan moving forward. This Dutch door idea was, will I run out of space in the back? So as a backup, because I was kind of like, maybe I'll wait till I've tried this for a month before I do my order. Well, yeah, I couldn't do that. But I was able to get 2 booklets, into booklets. And I'll show you, these are the ones that Hobonichi does for the weeks. And they're a little smaller, actually. But they fit in the back. So, the idea of if I needed more pages, I would have 2 books for each of the 6 months planners. And if not, I'll keep them and use them for something else. But anyway, those are undated. They're blank. They can be used or not used. So that part is going really well, and I'm very happy with it. See, this is what I had done before, like having this weekly spread, but I wasn't journaling in here. I was doing that in a different book and trying to get everything into one book because I had too many books at the beginning of the year, which is also part of why I got overwhelmed. So anyway, this part of my planning is good. So what to do with the horizontal that I've ordered. So first option, replicate this in there, and it's a good option. When I made that decision, so here's some other things that I had ordered last year earlier in the year when I was just trying out a bunch of stuff. This is the N1 size. You can see it's the same kind of more vertical layout, but it's a little taller and slightly wider. If you can see that. So I had ordered some smaller booklet things from different companies. The first one I ordered, well, not the first one of the ones I ordered was from Take a Note. And this is a slim weekly, and it is undated, and it's got a vertical layout. Now, they only did 6 months worth of vertical, and then the rest of this is just blank. So if I commit to using this, I would have to make out some more, weekly spreads in the back. But that's doable. So I got this one. The second one, this is just a blank notebook that I have in here just because I was toying with an idea. The second one was a Paper Tess weekly notebook. And when I ordered this, I did not realize it was a booklet. I thought it was a planner. And so it was a little bit disappointing to be like, oh, it's not and it's dated. So I will have to redate this because this is for 2025. And I also thought it was smaller. I don't know. I was thinking it was week size. I guess because it was the weekly booklet. I got that weeks word in my mind, like the Hobonichi weeks. Anyway, so I've gotten this and I'm like, I just love this. It's just such a unique layout. But I was like, I wanted to use it for health and fitness. It seemed like it would be a good fit for that, but it didn't have any blank pages in the back, which I needed with this setup. And there were just some things that it wasn't quite right. So I kind of put it on the side, which is why I ordered the Sterling ink into horizontal, because I know it'll work. Anyway, I've been wrestling in my mind about one other book that I keep up every year, and this is my budget planner or my financial planner. And this is just a notebook. It's by Wonderland 222. It's got 93 pages. And I basically have a weekly budget that I keep up with for different accounts. It's looking a little different these days, and I like how this is visually. And then I have a section in the middle for my credit card payments and that sort of thing to keep up with that. And then I also have a second account back here in the back that I'm keeping up with more of like the ledger style. So, I mean, the options I have for this, and the first option is to get another book just like this. I know it will work. The downside is it is not laid out in any way. It's just a blank notebook. So I have to draw out every single spread. It's time consuming. It's annoying, but it's doable. And I can get it exactly how I want. And it fits here and it's slim. So I can throw this in my purse, no problem. And I can make it work. The one downside with this with this more recent spread that I'm doing is that a lot of I've got like this, it's not like a horizontal, okay? And if my planning goes beyond 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if I spend more than 5 stores per day, then I have to double them up like this, and it's kind of hard to read. But when I do a ledger style one, I had basically had to figure out my balance for every transaction, which was tiresome. It didn't show up well visually. And so with this, having them like this, then this is my daily balance that I put in there. So this was working a little better. And so ideally it would be to have a book where I could go all the way across and have the balance over here. But as you can see, it's most of the spending's happening the first day, some the second day, maybe a little bit before the weekend, and not really much on the weekend. There's a lot of empty space here as well. So having a book this big would probably have a lot of empty space in it too. So I have not found the perfect layout spread for this. So my first thought was, Sterling Ink has their core planner, which doesn't have a bunch of pages in the back. Maybe that would work well for me. Well, number one, they all sold out. Number two, they're all vertical layout, which would not work as well for me. Yes, I could have my days going vertically, but I like having the numbers all line up here and not words, numbers, and then I'm counting up the numbers. I don't know. That doesn't fly so well with my brain. So I've looked through several things. I mean, I could get I'm struggling to talk today. I'm sorry. I could get any kind of Sterling Ink horizontal planner, and that would work. The downside with that would be, see how thin this is and how portable this is. This is even thinner than a compact Sterling Ink. So that would not work. I looked at the booklets. I don't think the booklets would quite work. I would need more than one for all the things I want to track, which means I'd have 2 booklets that are not bound to each other floating around. So I don't have a great option for this. So I'm experimenting with several things. So the first thing I'm experimenting with is this Take a Note, the vertical planner. So remember I said vertical wasn't going to work. Well, it doesn't work vertically, but what I've been playing with is doing this, okay, not in this section, doing it, rotating it and doing it horizontally. So I'd have room for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 payments this way and a balance. Oh, no, the balance would go over on this side. I'm going to use this for something else. And remember I said my Mondays were that's my big shopping day. It's actually Sunday, but by the time it hits the bank, it's Monday. So it all shows up on Monday. So with this layout here, I could use all of this for Monday. I could bleed down to here and I could still put my total there. And then Tuesday would be whatever it is, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And my totals would go up this way. So that's an option. Now, that would take up the whole book. Because remember, I told you earlier, they just gave me 6 months. So the rest of this is blank. But I would need a place to put all of my transactions for the other account that I keep more like a ledger. So that one I don't keep a weekly page for, I just have a monthly page. It's basically an account that has a bunch of automatic payments that come in and out. And I use it for other things here and there, but it's not like my daily purchases. And so so anyway, what I decided to do is to use this section here going this direction. So I would put my balance when I get the check on the 15th. The first entry is always a deposit, and then I would whatever happened in that day would come in, and then I would just draw this little box, and here's my daily balance. And then if I have 12 transactions, and then there's a balance, and this, even if it bleeds over from one week to the other, who cares? This isn't necessarily tied to this week. It's tied from 15th to 15th, but I can keep going throughout the month of January, and I have as much space as I need to do it. So it's an idea. The third thing that I do, which is the credit card tracking, I'm toying with the idea of doing in here, and I think I may potentially be able to fit it kind of tight. What I need to do is probably make a photocopy of this and really get in there and like copy one of these months just to be like, does this work for me? But that is idea number 1. Okay. Idea number 2. I have the other Hobonichi, or not Hobonichi, Sterling Ink horizontal. It's coming. Doesn't have anything dedicated to it yet per se. So I thought I'm going to they give you, I actually went today and filled in all of my charts. So I know how to take the time to do that every week, because that was part of what was making me fall behind. I just got overwhelmed with drawing these graphs out. They give you an extra month or an extra week spread. This is week 1 of 2025 or 26, sorry. So I'm not going to use it here. Wherever I put this information, it won't be here. It'll be in whatever the next planner is. So I thought, well, let's play with this spread and see if I could make this work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could do 8 transactions, and I could put my balance going this direction. And because Sterling Ink has slightly bigger paper and no quote down here, these would be a little bit more spacious sections to work with. So it fits actually pretty well. So it's a real possibility, and I just kind of discovered that today. So again, it's like I want to make a photocopy and then practice with one of my other weeks just to see, does it fit? How does it work? But that is a possibility. So the possibility is between using this and using this. Now this is a lot slimmer and it's a little bigger, but it's not quite big enough. This one would be thicker. Not as bulky as this, because number 1, I got this in the back, and number 2, I've got all of these things that I've glued in here that made it chunkier. So I do not know. I probably will make some copies and fiddle with it. now that I've kind of given myself two options. So this one's here now. It can be redated, not redated, it's undated. It can be dated and used. The layout doesn't need a whole ton of tweaking. And this is coming. Doesn't need a whole ton of tweaking. So it's an option. Okay, that's the first book that I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so remember, the horizontal could also be used as my fitness meal planner. And I've actually made the decision to not write down my meals anymore. I'm writing down the macro data because I like to track that. And that is what's in here, like this section and this section, or when I'm printing it out, it's this section and this section. I like to track these things. So what I needed was a layout that I could do all that. So I don't need to put this stuff in anymore. So I went through, I actually did print offs from, because I was away from this, and I did some print offs of what the paper test looked like on the inside from the website. So I knew the different sections I had. I knew I had this section. I thought, oh, that would be, you could put up a starting and ending photo, weights and measurements, beginning and end of the year. That would be fun to use there. Still, I have, Samsung Health does like little heart-shaped rings that you try and fill every day. So I was thinking I could put those in here, or I could use this for something else. I'm not dedicated. It has to be this. Okay. Then I have a quarterly section. And I'm thinking, I went through several ideas, which is why this is whited out, of what I would put here. Let me go to the back and just, okay, I went to my weeks. I opened it up and I wrote down what are the things, the sections and what's in that section. So the yearly tracker, I track steps. That's fine, but I don't think that's the be all end all thing that I need to do. If I want to do that again, I'll do that in the yearly tracker section, which is the one I'm not super committed to. The monthly spreads is where I track the exercise and also my measurements. The weekly spreads, food and macros, which remember, I'm not going to do that there because I keep it in MyFitnessPal. But some health data that I needed to find a home for. And then the blank pages in the back, all the graphs I keep, AT tracker, some health heart trackers, my exercise log for like core and also for weights. Those things take up significant space in the back. And just to give you a look, see, this is like core exercises, and then this is for weights. And I did Dutch door just so I can see what exercise and also like what the weight was that I was using. So I would want something that would track that kind of data. So I wrote all those things down, and I even took this health data that's the stuff that's on this page, and I broke that down into categories, color coordinated it so I could figure out where am I putting this in this booklet. So here is the plan that I've come up with. Yeah. Okay. So it's hard to see it. I don't know if this is easier, but this section right here is going to be, since it's already laid out like a graph, this is going to be my macro tracker. It does not need to be this big in real life, but since it's set up already, that's how it's going to be. Then I'm going to do, oh, I didn't write them. I just used colors. Okay, all of those little trackers that are in this side, I figured out the 6 that I wanted to put in these sections here. So that's figured out. These are all set up. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They've got 9 levels. Most things I have are 10, and I can totally, the bottom stuff usually isn't even ranked. So these are going to work great to track that kind of data. So I've got what I usually do at the beginning of the month where I say what kind of exercise I did, or the week, let's see. Monthly section. So every day I write down, how much I walked and if I did any kind of strength training. And so over here in this little sidebar, I write down the total miles for the week and then measurements. I put those in there. So I would need a place for this measurement section. So that measurement section is going to go right here for the week because this is a weekly spread. Okay. this little blue section on every single day, see how the days are broken up like this? So this is how I would divide it. This would be my AT data, which is something that I keep in the back of the book here. All of this. Does it need to be all together in a year format? No. It's that way so I remember to do it and fill it in and see my progress, but it can be there. So that's going to go there. This section right here is going to be for like what my actual workout was. So I'm going to put the total number of steps here and how many miles it was. The number of miles is what helps me know my AT spot on my journey. So that all will fit here. And I've fiddled with several different layouts, as you can see with the whiteout. But I decided, okay, I needed to find a place to put my comparison photos. And at first I thought right here would be great. But I think I'm actually going to make the photos smaller and put it on top of this little thing. Remember, we're redating this, so this is going to be useless anyway. So I think the photo is going to go there, and I should just actually draw that in while I'm thinking about it so that I don't forget that. But it'll just make the photo slightly smaller than how it is in the Hobonichi, but that is okay because just a reference. So that's something that would get glued in. Now for this section here. So these are the weekly, like this is a day, and this is a day that I do strength training. So all of I usually give myself 4 squares for that. I do 3 reps. Let's see, here we go. But you can see I've got 4 squares for each week and each exercise. So sometimes I just put in a number, but sometimes I change reps. I don't know if you can see some of these. Yeah, so I started 35, and then I went down to 30. So if I stay the same weight, I just write a big number. But if I change weights either up or down, I document that per set of reps. So I wanted to make sure I had that. So, this paper has those little boxes in it. So what I have done, and I guessed because this copy wasn't great, how I would divide this up. But basically, I just need to draw out these little squares and maybe number them, like label it. This is leg day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I either have 5 or 6, maybe 7 exercises I do on each one of those days, and then just delineate where they are. So if I want to see what did I do for this exercise last week, I can flip back. Oh, it's in there. That's the number. And I can track. It is not quite as nice as my big grid that I have at the moment, but I think it is visually trackable to flip back and forth. So that really, I was able to find a home for for everything I wanted to track. So basically the only section, this section is either going to have steps or my little heart data. And I'll show you kind of what that looks like. I was printing in this book, I'm printing them off per month. Here we go. So you can see like how much of the rings I did per month. So they don't have to be printed off that huge to be visible. They could even be slightly bigger for this layout. So that would probably get printed unless I like stenciled all those in and took the time to color them in. Let's be real, that's not happening. As cute as that would be. So it would probably be a cut and paste. So this would be a little bit bulky of a page because I would have something glued down. But anyway, that is where I am at with this planner. So I'm feeling good about it. So I mean, in theory, that horizontal might just come and not be used. And that's okay. Because I could always redate it for something else later. I might decide the second half of the year to go rogue and instead of getting another vertical, use a horizontal. But let's face it, that's not happening. But anyway, there are options out there. I'm trying to really flesh them out so I don't just dive into something and be like, this is never going to work. Why did I think this could work? And then end up having to order something at the last minute. So I've enjoyed the process of all this research and filling these in, and I'm looking forward to what next year's planner system has. And it looks like I'm going to be in N1s and N2s. I do also use an N1 for my worship planner, but that one, I just got a notebook and I wanted the mulberry so badly. I didn't really think about the fact that to get a mulberry, it was going to be over 500 pages. And so it's so thick and so chunky. So that is, I'll use it, and it may take 2 or 3 years to get through all of my worship stuff that I'm doing. So that's okay. That one, it was just a notebook, and I drew in some calendar spaces, and I have it sectioned off for the different things that I'm doing, prayer requests, etc. So it's working fine. So I don't need to order another one for next year. I'll just keep working with what I have. But anyway, I'm definitely moving into these long, narrow notebooks, and I'm kind of excited about it. So yeah, that's the plan for 2026. And as I always say, it's March's planning mess because I can never stick with anything. So if I change my mind, don't be shocked. And you'll be the first to know because I'll put it out here. Thank you for watching along with this video. I hope it gave you some ideas of maybe some alternative ways to use stuff. Really, do you want to find a planning system that works for you? If someone hasn't invented it yet, invent it yourself. I have high hopes because with Sterling Ink, they did, with their rings inserts, they came up with this horizontal or vertical layout that one could use, and I am just like amazed by that. They only made it available in rings, but if it's really popular, we might see some of that showing up in different size planners, and that could be amazing in in an N1 or an N2 going forward. So you never know what's on the horizon and how you're going to use it, but I would have never thought to make something that was versatile like that. But anyway, that's she came up with that idea, and I think it's going to be widely popular because it really makes it just so she doesn't have to do 2 layouts for each thing. She just has to come up with the versatile one. So anyway, we never know what's going to be available, and I'm really excited with the quality and the choices with Sterling Ink. And I'm looking forward to my order arriving, and I'm looking forward to starting to use it in January. So y'all have a great day.